Hello. Finally, Pakistan is getting some good news, at least murmuring of a good news on the western border. You must have seen this news item coming out of Afghanistan where Saidullah Said, who's a senior commander at the Hazrat Hamza Military Academy, a very significant institution in the Taliban hierarchy, issuing a sort of a fatwa or an edict suggesting this, that all those groups that fight in a third country using Afghanistan's soil without the permission of Amir al-Momineen, by which he essentially means Mullah Haibatullah Akhund, who's the head of the spiritual side and the political side of the Taliban government, are not considered to be legitimate mujahideen, and that they are not permitted to go and attack a third country, didn't name Pakistan, without the permission of the Amir al-Momineen. And anybody who does that is violating the parameters set by Amir al-Momineen. This might sound like a familiar refrain. This is not the first time this kind of an edict has been issued by the Taliban. At least twice, if I recall correctly, in the last couple of years, this kind of a reiteration from Taliban has taken place, telling the groups operating from the Afghanistan soil that you are not, by Sharia law, permitted to move across the border without our permission. But the context has changed drastically. Of course, Pakistan-India conflict, in which Pakistan closed the war with an upper hand, a decisive upper hand, and the fact that the Taliban are now deeply engaged with Pakistan and China to somehow sort out the issues that primarily involve Pakistan and Afghanistan. So Chinese influence seems to be working the magic, and the incentive for the Taliban is twofold. Number one, the Indian support that they were banking on, frankly, is not really a reliable one, and it is a recipe for chaos, and that chaos is going to hurt them badly. Pakistan has already struck inside Afghanistan. Pakistan has showed the resolve to pursue the groups that come into Pakistani territory in droves, like the Tashkil that was knocked out by Pakistan, had about 70 people in Bannu, Jani Khel area, and drones were involved in that strike as well. So 70 people came to Pakistan at the peak of crisis with India from the western border. They were knocked out. And that tells you how large the presence of TTP is inside Afghanistan territory. And it's not just TTP, it is also the BLA and the other Balochistan groups that are combined using Afghanistan's territory and attacking inside Pakistan. So these groups are now, by Sharia law reiteration, as interpreted by the Taliban leader, are not permitted to go across Pakistan. The interesting thing, however, is that when they say that you are not permitted to go, they are admitting that they do exist, that they do operate from this soil, and that they do go across Pakistan. It is just that Sharia now is being invoked in order to tell them that you cannot do it any longer. That they were told before as well, and that did not stop them. This time round, however, the Chinese influence probably is going to weigh in favor of Pakistan, and telling the Taliban that this deadly game, which is creating chaos and promoting fasad all across the region, is not on.
Not so lucky on our eastern border. Modi continues to use ceasefire, one, to intimidate Pakistan with his speeches, threatening statements, and secondly, keep using media to gain popularity at home and show people that they have won the war against Pakistan, while the case may be very, very different. I don't want to divulge in details how Pakistan Air Force broke Indian Air Force's back and so on and so forth. But the point that I want to highlight here is Modi is using officials. Modi is using official machinery to gain popularity at home. He's conducting roadshows. We earlier spoke on this fact that he's on sort of a election spree, some sort of election campaign where he's inviting people, holding rallies, coming out with these statements. So in his latest trick. He invited Sofia Qureshi's family to one of his roadshows. And the way it was framed as a media man, it is very clear to me why Sofia Qureshi's family was seated in the front row and why they were made to do this interview with one of the TV channels where Sofia Qureshi's sister had praises to shower upon on Mr. Modi. So, before I go on further, I would like to play this clip. This is one of India's analysts. Let's see what she's saying.
2023 में जो बीबीसी ने डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनाई थी गुजरात पे, जिसके बाद दे वर इफेक्टिवली किक्ड आउट ऑफ इंडिया, उसमें मोदी जी से क्या नाम था उसका, जिलियन, एक बहुत अच्छी बीबीसी की कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट थी इंडिया में, उन्होंने मैगिवरिंग, she asked Mr. Modi, who's then chief minister, कि if there was one thing you could do differently, what would that be? He didn't say that I could have saved Ehsan Jafri, I could have prevented Bilkis Bano, or the one thing I regret is कि भाई fabric हमारे राज्य का टूट गया. He said the one thing I regret is I could not manage the media. So what you're seeing post 2014, he said that very clearly. That was the only thing he regretted. So I think 2014 has been the bringing of that very evolved, sophisticated Gujarat model, which includes push, pull, voluntary submission, censorship, and already broken structure, and just making it kind of work for you. And added to that, and I think that's like the elephant in the room, is the lack of respect to the press that is given by this government. It believes in what it calls direct samvad. There'll be these kind of emperor-like kind of proclamations to the people, as it were. There is no press conference. There's no briefing. I mean, after all, one reason why there is even less information is what happened after China, what happened after the incursions and the losses. There's been zero briefing.
ना
पार्लियामेंट में आप सवाल पूछ सकते हैं, ना आप कोई ब्रीफिंग करा रहे हैं, ना कोई डीब्रीफिंग करा रहे हैं, या कोई क्लोज डोर ही ब्रीफिंग कर रहे हैं, या मुझे नहीं पता कि स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में कितनी ऑनेस्टी से लोग इस वक्त चर्चा करते हैं डायरेक्टली. एंड द सेम थिंग हैज हैपेंड नाउ. सो आपको लगता है उस वक्त दैट इज ग्रेट, आई एम ऑन टॉप ऑफ दिस. पहली बार आजाद हिंदुस्तान में प्रधानमंत्री ने 11 साल में एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस भी नहीं की है.
So Mr. Modi is not letting go of any opportunity to gain popularity at home, despite the fact that Pakistan had given him a befitting reply during the retaliation.
Back to the western border, if the Taliban are able to control these groups like the TTP or the Islamic State of Khorasan or Turkmenistan Islamic Party and prevent them from carrying out their dastardly attacks across the border, if they're able to somehow stem the tide of terrorism that is perpetuated in the name of free Balochistan from their soil, Pakistan can breathe easy. Yes, Pakistan's forces are tuned to dealing with multiple war threat scenarios. Pakistan has been tackling threats on either side of the border and also threats that got combined and exploded in the shape of spike in terrorism. But it will help to calm down the western border. And Taliban's role is also absolutely crucial, not just in calming down Pakistan's western border, but also pursuing projects that are going to revive the prospects for CPEC in this troubled area. This is where the Chinese influence comes in. Taliban essentially are an incentive-driven group. India's incentive to Taliban has been to pour in, billions of dollars, millions of dollars worth of support, and also using Taliban as a proxy to indulge in activity which generates a lot of revenue for them, be that weapons smuggling, smuggling of vital items, food items, and also drugs as well. So if you allow this kind of chaos to turn into an industry, that's the Indian strategy, and also pay the Taliban will be more than happy to play a game. But right now, playing this game is to get drawn into a deadly game of the possibility of a nuclear war in this region, which of course will affect the entire region, Taliban's controlled Afghanistan included. It also involves long-term hurt to their interest. Their long-term hurt is caused by India's machinations. India does not have long-term interest in Afghanistan. Pakistan and Afghanistan, be that controlled by Taliban or some other force, are bound by dictate of geography. So Taliban understand that while in the short term they may be making more money, getting more business out of this chaos and dangerous gameplay, their mid-term to long-term interests are served best if they were to get involved with Pakistan and also get involved in the CPAC project and let development wheels roll. If roads are built, if infrastructure is created, Taliban stand to benefit hugely from this involvement. I think this is where Pakistan and Chinese and Taliban's combined has a greater prospect of succeeding. But as they say, the taste of the pudding lies in its eating. Only time will tell whether the Taliban will be able to deliver on their edict, their own fatwa, that their soil cannot be used by tashkils and separatists and violent groups and attack a third country, read Pakistan.
Let me take you back to India, rather United States, where the United States administration is reiterating its stance over the mediation that took place between Pakistan and India. India says there was no mediation. US was in the United States, as Jaishankar replied to a question regarding United States' role. It's not so. The US administration has now put forth documents in a court of law, which is a court of international trade, where some American companies have challenged the tariff Trump imposed after he came into power. The court was conducting hearing, and the US administration on behalf of President Trump stated, don't do it, don't strike it down. If you do that, the country will be hurt. Trump's diplomacy will go for a six. And they said that Pakistan and India were fighting. They were on the brink of nuclear war. President Trump succeeded in persuading both the companies to agree to a ceasefire just because of the fact that he offered a trade deal. And that is hurting Indians a lot. They, again and again, they've stated that this is not the case. I'm wondering, if this is not the case, then what are their officials doing in United States talking about trade? They've just come back and they're scheduled to go and meet their counterparts in United States again. So the talks regarding trade are continuing along with the denial the Indians hand out time and again.
Let's see how time will unfold these events which are taking shape now. For now, the unfolding on the western border seems to be more promising as compared to the eastern border. But the western and the eastern borders are interconnected. If Pakistan is able to get Taliban to agree to see reason in this new arrangement with regard to the Chinese involvement and offers of projects and peace and prosperity and trade, then Taliban will be playing a much more productive game from Pakistan's point of view. However, if this were to go the same way, which is south of sanity, as I call it, as the previous efforts to hold back the groups operating from their territory from attacking Pakistan, then obviously there will be more chaos here. But I am more sanguine about this fatwa's future as compared to what I thought of the previous fatwa's fate, because this time around it is underpinned by a very strong regional incentive, which is the Chinese involvement and investment in infrastructure inside Afghanistan. Let's see how it pans out. Thank you very much.